In today's session, we want to talk about using social media for your job search. We often hear about using networking as a popular and common way to look for employment. We want to move that into a little bit more of a modern age and look at how we can use social media as a job search tool and what your public profile says about you. In this session, we'll look at the three most popular social media sites: Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and from that standpoint, how we can use them for our job search, and obviously as well, what is our public profile saying about us, how we can take control of that and use that to our advantage. So, what is social media? Well, it's a fun place we can go and gather information on people, places, and things, but really, are we using it for anything that's really relevant or practical, more so than just seeing what our friends are doing that day? Ask yourself this question: how much time do you spend a day on social media sites? It's probably several hours a day. Ask yourself this: how much time do you spend building a professional network? Probably a fraction of that time, which is unfortunate. A lot of people don't put the value into that they really should. So I want to talk to that today. I absolutely want to continue to build on the thought of what is our public profile saying about us. It's a first impression a lot of the time. Is it giving a good first impression? Is it giving a true account of who we are? Let's start with the big one, Facebook. Probably the most commonly used social networking site in the world. But really, what are we using it for? Well, once again, we're using it to find out what other people are doing, but I'd argue that we're not really using it for any practical applications. Let's look at it from an employment networking perspective. You can use it to update your status and let people know that you're looking for work. Be specific. How many friends do you have? A couple of hundred? Every one of those can be part of your network. As well, the people they know are part of your network on a secondary or even tertiary degree. We also have applications where you can access all of your contacts. It's an easy way to communicate and very efficient. And we can also look for employer pages where we can like those pages and have people friend us on there. From a company's perspective, Facebook is a great way to advertise your services. You can put information up here free, cheap, and very effectively. Updates on where you're located, information about the company, jobs that are available. For instance, on this one, they talk about career fairs and job fairs that they're attending, as well as people that you may want to talk to regarding those employment opportunities. We need to be aware of that. It's good to get your face out in front of these people. Like their pages, and then start communicating with people that are available here. Try to get out to some of the things, some of the events that they're being part of. It's a great way to contact employers. So, what is your profile saying about you on Facebook? Are there things on here that you'd be comfortable letting employers see? I know there's a number of security settings that you can put on. Do you think, well, nobody will be able to see what I'm saying or the pictures I post? People are pretty savvy, though. Think about if you went for an interview with an employer and the next day they asked to friend you. Would you? And what happens if you don't? What are the connotations around that? Your profile is public. You should be very careful about what it says. I would say use it to your advantage, actually. Put things on your Facebook page and profile that you're confident and happy about. Use it as part of your networking purpose. You still want to have a fun site, though. You might want to go with an alias and have a Facebook page that you only invite your friends to, and then feel free to post what you want on there. However, remember that whatever you put out in the public domain is available for public consumption. All right, let's move on to LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a professional Facebook. It's a great way to look at it. You can go on here and definitely build your professional profile. Take time when you're doing that. Talk about the current and past jobs you've had, level of education, and skill set. Employers are looking for those. Build your network from here, just like you would in the real world as opposed to the virtual world. Look at adding people that you know that can definitely help you with those first contacts: faculty, co-op consultants, former and current employees, employers, classmates. If you're comfortable with your LinkedIn site, I would suggest you actually add a link to it in your resume. Direct employers to your public and professional profile as opposed to them snooping around for it. The pictures and updates on LinkedIn are much more professional than on Facebook. We want to direct what our profile is saying about us. Think about what the first impression of you is when people have a look on LinkedIn. Very important. With your connections, you will then have the opportunity to connect with people right around the world. You might be interested in a company that you don't know anybody at, but maybe one of your connections knows somebody there. That's a traditional networking system, and really we're just using it in an online or virtual setting. Be sure as well to keep this fresh. Don't let your profile just kind of lag behind and something you get to every once in a while. Update it with what you're doing as you continue to take courses, as you get new jobs, and as you continue to build your skill set. There's an increasing trend of employers adding their pages to LinkedIn. This is great for us as job seekers. Gather a lot of information from these pages about the size of the company, where they're located, type of business they do, as well as any employment opportunities they have. There's usually a list of employees on here as well that are on LinkedIn that are associated with certain companies. It's a great way to make those first contacts. Once again, if you're not connected with anybody at this company, maybe one of your network people are. That's a great way to do that networking again and continue to build those relationships. It's a great way to research employers prior to your interviews as well. So make sure you take the time. With the increasing use of social media from the employer's perspective, they want to know what is their return on their investment. Somebody's taking time to go through Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and updating their pages. Is it worth their time? And it's a great little reference point for you when you go into the interview. Along with updating our public profile, researching companies, we can also look for work on LinkedIn. Through your profile, you can set up the type of work you're looking for and even the geographic area you'd be willing to travel to. This is great because you'll get consistently information about companies that are hiring. Even if you're looking for something down the road, it might not be a current co-op, maybe it's a full-time job, 6 months, a year, year and a half out. But it's interesting to find out what companies are looking for. Helps you direct your academics and potentially your co-op opportunities as to what kind of experience you're going to need to have once you get to the point of applying for a full-time job. It's also not a bad idea to look at some of these companies that are hiring for full-time positions and maybe target them for a co-op opportunity. Great ideas and might lead to something for you down the road. For many of you, Twitter might be a bit of a surprising social media site when we talk about looking for employment, but there's some really good information here. As more and more employers are using Twitter to update what they're doing, it's great for us to follow along and find out some really current, up-to-date, and practical information. We're going to talk about how to use this for our job search. So the easiest thing using Twitter is to find out the companies you want to work for. Get on here and find out if they're tweeting information. More and more, we find companies using this as a really efficient and effective way to communicate with the outside world. Talk about jobs that they have available, type of people they're looking for, location. Once again, it might not be the exact job that you're looking for. It might be something that's a few steps down the road, but you can communicate with the people that are sending out these tweets. And it's a great way to keep in touch. Don't just stick with a couple. Get on a number of different sites. Let the information come to you. As well, be the good person. It's things you like and are interested in. Retweet them out. Companies love to see that as well. So yeah, you can look for jobs on Twitter. Absolutely. Here's one, just real simple, at Toronto Jobs. Obviously jobs of a certain level in the Toronto area. Might be a good idea, obviously, for you to follow these different little pages, but you may want to consider starting up your own page. It's almost like a job search group that you could start up, invite your friends to be part of, ask people to follow you, and then you might be the conduit for a number of jobs in a certain area, maybe even a certain type of job, whether it be engineering or accounting or golf. Who knows what it might be. It's a great way to add some value to your Twitter account.